welcome to It's a High Raw Life. Today I am going to be sharing a recipe with you that totally takes care of an Indian food craving. I've made this recipe a couple of times and it's come together really well, and I thought it would be a great one to share with you. So what you're going to need for this recipe, the base is cauliflower. You can use half of a large head or a whole small head, which is what I'm going to do here today. Okay, so you're just going to chop away all the greens and cut the florets off and put them into your food processor. You could chop it by hand if you don't have a food processor. You just want to chop it tiny, really, really small. I tend to put the cauliflower in small batches and just scrape it out, because this way I get more uniform pieces, and also for this recipe I want to really get them small, tiny bits. Actually, I think it's pretty versatile. You could probably leave it all chunky, so if you wanted to just chop it by hand so as to not have to clean your food processor, you could do that too. You'll see, it's the flavor's all in the sauce that we're going to mix onto it, and although it's a heavy sauce, it does use a half a cup of cashews. You're not going to eat this whole thing in one sitting. Well, you might, and even if you do, it's only a half a cup of cashews as opposed to maybe, a full cup or two. I think that for this recipe, larger chunks probably would give you a really nice texture, but I like to be able to do different things with it. So I go more like to a cauliflower rice texture, as you see here, like that. As you see it bounce all over the counter, like that. Oh, clean up crew! Someday somebody will come in and clean it up for me. Just not in this lifetime. Isn't this amazing? The sun is coming in at such a nice angle this morning. I think I'll leave this core chunk out. Okay, now that we have our cauliflower rice, we're going to make the sauce for it. We're going to start with a half a cup of cashews. You can use another nut that's creamy like that, like macadamia, but these are always cheaper. So I have a half a cup of raw cashews, which I'm putting in the blender with about 1 cup of water, filtered pure water, of course. Hey, look, I got a new cutting board. It's been a long time. I used to get emails that I used that marble cutting board, that I was going to kill my knives and blah, blah, blah. And I know you were right, but that's the one I had, and there were other issues involved as to why I used that over wood. But then my girlfriend got me this brand new knife, not this one, a different one, and I just refused to put it on anything but bamboo because I didn't want to ruin it. Okay, so I learned something new recently, how to peel ginger, and then when I told my friend, did you know that you can easily peel ginger with a spoon? She was like, yeah, I knew that. Well, I didn't. I don't have the cooking channel or anything like that. So you just take your spoon and scrape your ginger. Cut off the amount you want from your ginger root, and then it just scrapes right off. I couldn't believe it. I felt so out of it. I guess you all know that already, but I didn't know that. I don't know why I didn't know that. Why didn't anyone ever tell me that? Okay, so you just scrape it off, right? And it exposes it, and you hardly lose any of the ginger, which is so nice. And we're going to chop up, we want about a tablespoon, so I'm just going to chop up a bunch of it. Oh, I learned that too. With my new knife, it works way better, but this is the one that was out. So you just put your knife flat on top of the ginger root, the rounded piece, and give it a squash. Squash. If you use one of those big honking butcher knives, that's like the one she got me, then it really smashes it. Anyways, give it a rough chop because it's going in your blender, so that's about a tablespoon. And then to that, the only other thing we're going to add to the blender is a tablespoon of, I'm using garam masala. It's just a spice blend. You can get it obviously in the Indian market, but they do sell it just in the regular spice aisle. And they're different. There are different masala blends. I have a chole masala blend that is so spicy, but this one's not. This one's good. Okay, so dump that in. And then of course we'll season with salt and pepper afterwards. But that's it for the blender. So you're going to blend that into a creamy sauce. Once your sauce is smooth and creamy, and you know, you can add in a little bit of water at a time. So if you're feeling like, oh, it might get too watery and you don't have extra nuts to add in, just add in a half a cup of water at a time so you get it to the consistency that you want. Let's season with salt and pepper. That's so good. You see me take a snort of that? Just a pinch of salt. You don't want too much. And you want it to blend your flavor. Little cracked pepper, always good. You can always add salt afterwards, you know. Okay. I'm just going to give it a little stir instead of turning it back on. Because it's so noisy for you guys. Okay, so I'm just going to pour this over my cauliflower a little bit at a time. I'm going to pour some on. I'm going to stir it. And you want to really combine it well. Now, if my cauliflower had been a little bigger, I would have definitely put some of the cauliflower rice off to the side to use for nori wraps and stuff. But it was a small organic head of cauliflower. And I love this. And every time I make it with the half a head of cauliflower or whatever, and then when it's gone, I'm like, And then I come up with all these other things I could be doing with it, and there's none left. So I'm going for the full portion this time of this. Full recipe. Alright, so after I've incorporated that, I'm just going to keep pouring in a little bit at a time till I get it all mixed in well. All mixed in. Give it a little taste so you can see if it needs some more salt or pepper. And also, if it's getting like too squishy for you and you want to have it a little bit drier, just save some of that sauce for on the side and use it for a dip or, you know, salad dressing. Okay, then I'm going to put in a half a cup of peas. I thought some frozen organic peas. And after I stir that in, I may decide to add more. It depends. Okay, but this is really the beginning. Okay, let's give it a taste. I didn't taste it. It's so good. It's really light in flavor. So for people who are not turned on by Indian food the way I am, this is a good start into that combination of spices. And the ginger, it's really good. Okay, oh, I was going to not stick my spoon back in there so I could share this. Oh, don't tell. Do you think chefs do that at a restaurant? I hope not. Oh well. Okay, so you can serve this just like this. You can serve it as a side dish. You could take a bed of greens and just plop it on top. Or you could do some other fun things with it. I have like 5 minutes till I have to go. So let me tell you some fun things I'm going to do. A while ago, I bought these coconut wraps. And quite honestly, I didn't love them. They weren't my thing. But when I made this last time, I was like, oh, I know what to do with those. Coconut would be a nice flavor with this. So I'm going to make like a giant samosa. I could probably cut this into 4 and make mini ones. The thing I did was I took this mixture and I put in some ground flax and then made a patty with it, and it was fantastic. Maybe we should do one of those too. So I made a patty and then dusted it on the exterior with a little flax meal as well. It's a big patty. This will be nice too. So these are things I'm doing on my dehydrator tray, but the rest of this is a large bowl of this. I'm going to definitely have this for lunch, a nice scoop of it on a bed of greens. Okay, so it turns out there's like a million things you could do with this, and it's so delicious. So I made some mini kind of samosas with that coconut wrap I was telling you about in the dehydrator. And I'm just going to peel it open. After the cauliflower's in the dehydrator for a little while, it gets tender. So it makes for a totally different texture, which is delicious, and it's a little bit warm, which is nice. So if you have a dehydrator, great, and if not, whatever, because look how beautiful this is. And it's so tasty. And this is, seriously, what's in the dehydrator and what's here right now, this I could definitely eat in one sitting, but there's like 2 other meals in the dehydrator. So that one head made like 3 different meals at least. And if you did side dishes, you know, you could feed a whole bunch of people. Check this out. I rolled some up with just a long thin piece of carrot and some nori, because I really wanted to use this new sushi dish I got. My daughter made it for me. I'm so excited. I'm just gonna eat one piece because I want to wrap it up and show her that I used it. But the nori, the seaweed flavor with this, it's just a great combination. Who knew? Now we know. So good. So try this simple recipe.